Today I wanted to talk about an important topic, and this is very specific to the United States. We have an organization here in the U.S. called Medicare, and Medicare is an insurance, a federal insurance, that covers people from 65 years of age on up, or people with severe disabilities, or disabilities. So one of the things that's happened here is that a letter, not a letter, but I would say an opportunity for people to put in their thoughts in regards to wheelchairs that elevate. So there was a lot of conversation back and forth, in regards to Medicare and Medicaid. Medicaid is for those who are low income and have behavioral health or have other disabilities, or have severe income issues, and they can't afford to have insurance. So the state will provide through Medicaid. So we have two strong insurance companies that are there to kind of like a safety net. So, and this is what happened. There were some conversations going back and forth in regards to the benefit of expanding some benefits regarding mobility devices, and that was specifically for power wheelchairs. And they left, it open to receive comments from the public, which has closed now as of March 17th. The agency received 2,130 comments, which is pretty good statistically for the United States, because for it to be reliable or somewhat, that you have enough information to sort through and for it to be useful, you have to have more than 500 comments, and they got 2,130. So that was good. That was awesome. And then some poor person had to sort through all these comments. So sorry, Medicare. So the system within Medicare is called CMS. Spokesperson said CMS uses the initial public comments to inform its proposed decision, adding, CMS responds to details to the public comments on proposed decisions when issuing the final decision memorandum. So they send out letters to let us know what changes they're putting out there, either taking away something or adding something or putting in something different. So in terms of the services. So this is what they said. The NCD would cover Group 3 power wheelchairs, which are designed for people with Medicare who have the most severe disabilities, according to CMS. The specific improvement would call for power seat elevation. And that was the question that was going back and forth. People are asking, well, hey, I need, elevation to be able to reach things, to be more independent, to, be able to get to those high cabinets, blah, 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 to be able to transfer better. So they were just kind of looking at the public's statements to see what was coming forth. What do the people really need? So according to CMS, the news release, CMS following a long-standing process established by Congress to determine whether a medical item or service can be covered nationally by Medicare, including when an item is reasonable and necessary. So those are the two requirements, reasonable and necessary, for the diagnosis and or treatment of an illness or injury. So that's how they look at something new that they're going to add. If it is reasonable, that it's not going to break the federal piggy bank, and necessary, that this person really needs it and they don't have any other option. So that's what it means when reasonable and necessary. So the proposed NCD follows an evidence-based clinical analysis in CMS initiated in August of 2022 to examine whether the use of power set elevation equipment on power wheelchairs, 1, falls within a Medicare benefit category, and 2, if yes, whether it is reasonable and necessary according to the release. So their conclusion is CMS will issue its final decision memorandum, so they don't have one yet, at which point all comments will be addressed individually, so according to the agency. So one of the things that happened was the American Occupational Therapy Association leaned into this and participated in the comments because they're the ones seeing the people, the patients, and they hear about all kinds of needs, and they weighed into the comments. So the AOTA is the National Professional Association representing the interests of more than 213,000 occupational therapists, OT assistants, and students of occupational therapy. So they're out there, they're in the field, and they know what they're talking about. So Julie Lenhart, AOTA Manager, Reimbursement and Regulatory Policy, wrote, AOTA continues to urge CMS to recognize that functional mobility is an activity of daily living. The need and coverage for MAE, which is what they're calling it, should not be linked to the ability to perform activities of daily living, ADLs, or have them performed by a caretaker. So the comment here gets interesting. Lenhart continued by explaining that individuals can work, cook, dress, perform daily hygiene tasks, often without any other assistance, if they are able to use seat elevation systems as necessary. Another comment came from the physical therapist with a home care services agency, writing, all power chair patients I have worked with had transfer issues. This act of transferring patients from the chair to other services often creates strain for both patient and caregiver. Many comments noted. So those are the two things, to keep the person independent and to keep the person from injuring themselves or the caregiver during transfer. So it'll be really interesting to see how this letter comes out, what Medicare comes to, what decision they come to. Now, for those countries who might be listening to this, Medicare is a federal program. So obviously the government listens to their research and their conclusions, and like they're doing here, they're researching, the cost and the usage of elevating power wheelchairs, and to see if it is reasonable and a needed service for people who are using power wheelchairs. So, I, for one, personally, on my end, I would love to have a wheelchair when I get this one changed out, for it to have that ability to elevate, because there are things that I can't reach in the house, and then I have to go look for somebody to go get it for me because I can't reach it, because it's up above in higher cabinets, which it needs to be due to, bugs and whatever. We're keeping the food safe. But, a lot goes into these questions, into the research, and I'm hoping that once the letter comes out, that they will, support people using power wheelchairs. Because obviously if we're using power wheelchairs, that means that, we have a disability that is severe enough to need that help to get from point A to point B. And so, like in my case, my legs can give out at any point. I might try to stand up and walk, and I'm down. So in a second, and we don't know why. Apparently, it's originating from the brain, so that is a bit problematic. So when you work with a therapist in this case, the therapist has to keep these two questions in front of them. Is it reasonable and is it necessary, for this patient to have that device in their wheelchair? Is it reasonable? Is it necessary? So will it help this person do transfers? Will it help this person in their independence? Will it help this person avoid injuries? So it's some of that and all of it that has to be evaluated carefully. Not everyone has a need for it, so we just have to wait. The answer is not there yet, and we'll see if they're going to need more data. We're going to see if they need more comments from us, from the public, and see if we can untangle it. Because I'm sure they put out the question because requests were coming in, and it's a new accessory added to power wheelchairs. And so, every day power wheelchairs, every year power wheelchairs are becoming more and more complex and with more and more accessories. And Medicare and Medicaid looks to Medicare to see what the final decisions are. So in other insurance companies, even private insurance companies, listen to Medicare and Medicaid to see what's going on and to see if they need to follow suit. And add that to the benefits that they are offering their clients. So we have to hold on and wait just a little bit more. I'm sure that by the summer, they will probably have an answer. And whatever Medicare decides to do, it's going to have a ripple effect on other insurance companies and their position on elevating wheelchairs. So this is an important decision. I think that, we'll see what happens and how the therapists need to handle the question when it comes from the client or the patient in terms of I would like or I have a need for elevating accessory on the wheelchair because. And so the therapist has to go back to that question. Is it reasonable and is it necessary for the diagnosis and treatment of this person's particular illness? So folks, that's what's in the cooking. That's what's cooking in Medicare. That's what's cooking on the stove right now for power wheelchairs specifically. And so let's keep our fingers crossed that this comes through. I think it'll might not benefit me right away, but it might benefit others who truly, truly need it. And it would be helpful for them to regain some of their independence and to help them, especially with transfers. I know that for me to get into a bed or to transfer to another chair, especially when I have my down days, it's very difficult. So we'll see what happens, and I will keep you posted. As soon as I see that letter come out, I will let all of you know, and we'll celebrate for those who will benefit from this new accessory on power wheelchairs. This is Lisa from Power Wheelchairs for Success. I'm hoping that you are finding the podcast helpful and informative, so you don't have to go around looking for all the information all over the place. So I like to do these podcasts that, if I pick on one topic, I think we can cover quite a bit substantially and clearly. when I do these, I have documents in front of me, and I'm reading the information directly from the documents in terms of what's going on. So it's not that I talk on the top of my head, so I wouldn't do that to you. But anyway, I'm glad you came by. You could be somewhere else doing something probably more important, but you're here with me today, and I want to thank you. And if you would like to like this podcast or to subscribe, if the channel appears to support your needs and the information you're looking for, that would be awesome. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next podcast.